Many men out there believe that married women are off limits, that they are untouchable, sacred. But the truth, in a colder, harsher light, is that married women are often the easiest targets to approach and connect with. Why? They're not lacking morals. They're lacking connection. And in today's video, I'm going to break down why married women are often the easiest prey, and more importantly, how you can avoid becoming the next victim in your own marriage. Part 1. The unexpected truth. Marriage makes women more lonely. There's a specific type of loneliness. It doesn't come from being physically alone. It comes from being right next to someone who no longer sees you. And ironically, this type of loneliness is most common among married women, especially after 5 to 10 years of marriage. I have a husband, but I still feel alone. That's a phrase I hear from so many middle-aged women who are going through marriage counseling in the US. They're not alone. They have husbands, children, families, they even have their name on the front door, the Smith family. But deep down, they feel abandoned. How does everything go from romantic to cold? When you first got married, he opened the car door for you, said good night every evening, placed his hand on your back when crossing the street. 5 years later, he opens the car door for himself. The last thing he says at night is, "Don't forget to pick up the kids tomorrow." You're the mother of his children, the manager of his household, but no longer the woman he looks at lovingly every morning. Love doesn't die suddenly, like a crash. It dies slowly, like a candle that hasn't been lit for too long. The psychological perspective, when alone with a husband, becomes a real symptom. Dr. Terry Orbach, a marriage therapist in the US, conducted a 20-year study on over 400 couples. She found that 66% of women after 10 years of marriage reported feeling alone in their marriage, mainly due to a lack of emotional connection. Women don't need to hear "I love you" every day. They just need a genuine glance when they're tired. A simple "Are you okay?" A text that says "I miss you." When these small gestures disappear, loneliness starts to consume them quietly but fiercely. Cindy, 45, administrative assistant in Illinois. I'm not the type of woman to complain. I don't expect gifts or for him to post happy couple pictures. I just need someone to talk to. But he always has the TV on, always glued to his phone. One day I said to him, "I feel like I'm living alone." He replied, "I'm right here. What are you talking about?" That was the moment I realized, he's here, but he's not really present with me anymore. Women don't need much. But when even the little bit they need vanishes, they'll look elsewhere. She's not out looking for another man. She's looking for the connection she once had and lost within the walls of her own home. It could be an old friend who suddenly checks in, a coworker who always asks, "Did you sleep well?" every morning, or even a TikTok video that makes her cry because it hits too close to home. From a sympathetic look to a late-night text, and before you know it, everything has gone too far. If you're a married woman, stop and ask yourself, 1. Am I really living, or just playing the role of the perfect wife and mother? If your days revolve around meals, kids, and bills, you're dimming your own light. 2. When was the last time I had an emotional conversation with my husband? Not a debate, but a genuine dialogue. Soft, honest, without blame. 3. Am I still taking care of my own emotional well-being? You can't expect someone to listen to you if you don't even know what you need. 4. Is anyone besides my husband bringing positive emotions into my life? If yes, don't be too hard on yourself. But be honest. Where is that emotional gap being filled from? You're not wrong. You're not weak. You're just thirsting for something that everyone needs, to be seen. And the most dangerous part is, you may seem perfectly fine in the eyes of the world, but inside, you're slowly breaking down every day. If you're in that space, don't stay silent. Start with a conversation. Bring yourself into the light. Be brave enough to admit, I'm lonely in my marriage, and I deserve to be loved again. Loneliness doesn't kill a woman, but it makes her vulnerable, makes her more likely to open up to the wrong person, and most of all, it makes her lose herself. Part 2. Why are they so easy? It's not because they want to betray. If you've ever thought, she's married, there's no way she'd betray her husband, etc., then you're putting too much faith in that marriage certificate and underestimating the power of loneliness. In a marriage, no one betrays on day one. It starts with an empty chair at dinner, a hug that no longer comes, a look of indifference when she wears a new dress. Betrayal begins with invisibility. 1. Women don't cheat because of a lack of morals. They cheat because of a lack of connection. Marriage is where people often lose each other the most, because everyone assumes the other will always be there. And when a man stops paying attention to his wife's mood, her appearance, her sleep, her smile, any man who's more attentive can easily become her hero. Amanda, 38, works in healthcare, lives in San Diego. My husband is great. He works hard, no drinking or cheating. But he talks to me like I'm a machine, just asking things like how much is the electricity bill, or has the kid eaten? Then one day, a colleague at the hospital, all he did was bring me a cup of coffee with a note, "You look tired today," and I started crying. She wasn't lacking a man. She was lacking emotional validation. 2. The third party isn't always seductive. They're simply willing to listen. No need to be handsome, no need to be rich. The person who can steal a woman's heart when she's married only needs to do 3 things. Listen without judgment. Ask questions instead of offering advice. Make her feel important. At a couples therapy workshop, a wife shared, "He asked me if I was happy today. Something my husband hasn't asked me in 4 years. That's it. No hugging, no intimacy." But her soul betrayed her long before her body did. 3. When your wife starts wearing more makeup, being more introspective, or laughing at her phone, you should be worried. It's not because she's seeing someone new. It's because she's reviving herself, but not through you. I thought she was trying to reinvent herself, but it turns out she was trying to reconnect with the woman she once was. The woman who was radiant, who had dreams, who was desired, before she became a shadow in this house. A husband's words after his wife left. 4. Specific guidelines for each group to break free from this dangerous emotional cycle. For the married men, listen more, not just with your ears, but with your eyes and heart. When your wife says, "I'm fine," don't brush it off. What she might really want is, "Can you pay attention to me for a moment?" Actively reconnect, little by little, every day. It doesn't have to be big. A text at lunch, "Have you eaten yet?" A small compliment, "You look great tonight," is enough for her to feel loved. Don't let someone else do your job, being the one who makes her feel safe. For the women who are married, understand that emotions are real, but the choice is yours. You have the right to feel sad, lonely, angry, but you also have the right to ask for change before things go too far. Speak your feelings, don't hide them. Don't expect your husband to understand if you don't say anything. Many men aren't insensitive, they simply don't know what you need. Don't let a text message make you feel something and lead you into another relationship, one that will make you lose yourself. Affairs rarely lead to true love. They are just an escape from your current reality, but they often bring even more pain. For the third party, or those about to step into that role, look beyond temporary emotions. Today, you may be the listener, the healer. But tomorrow, you could be the reason a child loses their home or a family falls apart. If she says he doesn't care about her, help her heal, not run away. Because a truly kind person doesn't conquer a broken heart. They heal it, so it can return to where it truly belongs. Married women are not easy prey because they lack morals. They are easy to sway because they've been disconnected from their emotions for far too long. They aren't seeking other men. They are seeking to feel like they're still worthy of being loved, seen, and heard. And if you find yourself in any of these 3 roles in this story, stay alert, take action, love in the right way, before it's too late. Part 3. How to avoid becoming the prey or the hunter in an emotional affair. At some point in a long-term marriage, you'll find yourself at one of 2 crossroads. Someone outside your marriage makes your heart skip a beat, and you don't even know why. Or you are the one offering comfort, listening, and becoming a friend to someone who's already married. These situations rarely start with guilt. It begins with a quiet emptiness, feelings left unsaid, concerns no longer present, and gestures of love fading away. So how do you avoid sliding into an affair outside your marriage? Let's walk through 5 real-life situations, each with specific lessons for both husbands and wives, so you can recognize the warning signs before things go too far. 1. I wasn't planning to tell you, but when you start confiding in someone else, not your spouse. Melissa, 38, an accountant from Chicago, shares. At first, it was just texting an old friend. But then, I started telling him things I hadn't shared with my husband, like how I didn't feel attractive anymore, how tired I felt, how invisible I had become. My husband would just nod, glued to his phone. But he listened, really listened. If you find yourself more comfortable sharing with someone outside your marriage, that's a red flag. It's not that this other person is better than your spouse. It's that at home, you're no longer being listened to. 2. My wife is great, but it's just so boring. When men seek novelty in even the smallest things. A confession from a husband. David, 45, a regional manager in Dallas, admits, I still love my wife, but after 12 years, everything just felt robotic. She took care of the kids, the house, and then went to bed. Meanwhile, this new coworker was always cheerful, remembering I liked black coffee and smiling at me every morning. One day she said, "You look tired. Let me make you some ginger tea." I started looking forward to work more than coming home. Men don't always seek passion. Sometimes they just want something new, a little acknowledgement. But remember, the woman you're noticing isn't juggling kids, bills, and the kitchen. Your wife is. What you're seeing as bright in someone else may just be the light of what you've forgotten at home. 3. It's just coffee. When you start justifying private meetups. Samantha, 42, a mother of 3 in Seattle, texts a male coworker, I just need someone to talk to for a bit. Coffee? Just friends. But just coffee, once, then twice. Slowly, it turns into looks, a hand touch, and soon, it's no longer about just coffee. Emotional affairs don't begin with physical touch. They start when someone occupies your private emotional space that your spouse no longer does. Ask yourself, would you dare let your spouse read this text? If someone secretly recorded this conversation, would you feel ashamed? If the answer is yes, then you've crossed a line. 4. We're just talking when you start lying to yourself. Brian, 47, shares, I text her every night. She lives in another state. We talk, joke around, vent about our spouses. I thought, what's the harm? But then I started hoping my wife would go to sleep early so I could text her. That's when I realized I was having an emotional affair. Not physically, but emotionally, completely. When you start hiding something, even just a text, it's no longer harmless. When you need to explain it away to yourself, deep down, you already know it's wrong. 5. He understands me better than my husband. When intimacy leaves the marriage. Rebecca, 41, shares during a marriage counseling session, I didn't mean to cheat, but I can't deny how it feels. He listens, understands, makes me feel valued. While my husband, he hasn't looked me in the eye when I talk for a long time. Lesson, for both wives and husbands, it's not that people stop loving each other. They just stop connecting, stop listening, stop feeling needed. If a stranger understands your spouse better than you do, your marriage has a problem. All affairs begin with a small void, and each of us has a choice to make. If you're the wife, Don't stay silent, waiting for your husband to understand. Express your true feelings. Don't seek sympathy from another man just because your husband is too busy. If you're the husband, don't let familiarity kill the romance. Spend 15 minutes a day really listening to your wife. No phones, no TV, no judgment. If you're the friend on the outside, ask yourself, am I helping someone heal or am I tearing apart a home? Don't be the reason someone else's family falls apart, even if it's unintentional. Final thoughts. We often think love is something that will always come naturally, like a fire that burns brightly without needing our care or attention. But the truth is, marriage, love, and emotions, they all need to be nurtured every day. A little neglect, a little loss of attention, a little failure to listen can cause everything to fall apart. A casual comment, a small act of kindness from someone else, can make us feel understood more than ever. But never forget, the person outside your marriage isn't the one who's by your side in the hard times, the one sharing meals with you, the sleepless nights, the sweat from work, or the worries about the future. Love isn't something you find somewhere else when it fades at home. Love is a choice. It's a choice every day, every hour, every minute, to understand each other more, listen more, and cherish more. Only then can marriage become the peaceful place where love never fades. There will certainly be times when you feel tired, empty, and you may want to seek comfort elsewhere. But remember, love isn't about what you get. It's about what you give. We can change, we can grow, and we can make everything better if we choose to. Take a moment to reflect on what you have. If you're in a relationship, remember that it deserves all your care, sincerity, and sacrifice. Don't let a moment of weakness cause you to lose the most important things in your life. Life has many challenges, but love, when properly cared for, will be the great strength that helps you overcome everything. So, what will you choose? Hold on to love, or let it slip away like a fleeting breeze?